Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey, and I decided I was going to do actually a different review tonight. I was thinking of something completely different, but I have been thinking of this guy for some time, for months actually, to go back to one of my old friends. Now this is an interesting one in that, no, my son didn't buy this for me. I actually discovered this on my own. and it's an old friend. It's one of those whiskeys that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and I wanted to go back to it. And I really believe that this is a whiskey that has been so consistent, and that's what I want to do. I want to give it another review and see if it is as good as it was in the past, or it has been in the past. So we're gonna go after the Bunnahabhain 12. Now, I have tried some of their other bottlings, the Toiteda and the Strotadair, and they're good, but for some reason they've never been able to match this. And so we're going to give this another review. Bunnahabhain 12, an old friend. Something about the nose. It has, it's ambrosial and at the same time pungent. Almost like overripe, or even, apples that have gone beyond the ripe stage. I'm going to say even, cooked plums, stewed prunes, and that smell is a smell that you'll get with sherry, by the way. You can get it with some of the other distilleries in the area of Bunnahabhain. I notice it a lot with Jura, and I do smell it in some of the other in some of the other sherry driven whiskeys and that. I get that smell, but it's very, very strong with Bunnahabhain, and I like it. There's something unique about it, and now we get the mix of the spice, some malt notes, maybe some cinnamon, back to pungency, and we're getting, when I say overripe apples, probably overripe prunes too, or overripe plums. And the sherry is definitely a strong influence here. Something to say about the nose, unique. This has a nose that is like no other, and it hasn't changed. This was at one time a 40% whiskey, and around, I think it was 2010, they upped it to 46, what was it, 46.3, 46.4, somewhere around there, 46.3. Non-chill filtered, no color added. So let's go after the palate here. Slàinte. Very sherry driven. Different than Abinad though. Different than your Aberlour 16. Different than Glendronach. This is an Islay whiskey. There's very, very little peat in here. I think they use a, what is it, 3 ppm. Some of the peat does, some of the peated, low peat, when you think of 3 ppm, that's very low peat. But some of it comes from Port Ellen maltings, and some of it comes from elsewhere. But the peat is very slight, but I am getting the maritime notes. Getting a little bit of a slight bit of a salty taste, but not like an old Pulteney. And really taste the sherry. So slightly dry, some tartness to it. The prunes, the stewed prunes, I would say will override the white fruits, like your apples and your pears. Maybe there's a little bit of apricot mixed in with the prunes. I'm going to say the cooked vegetables. So we get a little bit of maybe some asparagus to maybe sweet potato. And then again, the fruit comes back. So we're sort of flip-flopping back and forth. So I was going to mention to you the other bottlings there. Now, I might not have pronounced the, I think you said Toitida, and it's Toitshaga, if I remember rightly, Toitshaga. But it was a slightly smoky presentation, more so than this, of course. It was something that I wasn't as impressed with it because I look at Bunnahabhain different than any of the other Islay whiskies, other than maybe Bruichladdich, because they do have a similarity in that both of them went a different route on Islay, and they did non-peated presentations, as you know, compared to, let's say, Lagavulin, Ardbeg, Laphroaig, Kalila, Bowmore. What we're seeing when they do a peated presentation is you adjust to the peat and you seem to lose a bit of what you really liked in the 12. Now the Slàinte era was good. It was also sherry influenced. I just felt it wasn't where this was. So that's what I'm going to say about the other bottlings. I've only had one glass of the 18, and I would love to get a bottle of the 18, but I have missed out a couple times when there was an opportunity. When it was there, it goes so fast. So maybe when I'm over in Scotland in May, I'll get that opportunity. So I'm going to go now right to the development and the finish. Slàinte. So it has, again, so much sherry influence. I'm trying to get the oak. I am getting a little bit of the barley malt, some grainy notes, maybe even some grassy notes. So we know there is oak in that cask. So sometimes sherry can mask things. And in this case here, right at this moment, the way my taste buds are, I'm getting more sherry. I'm getting more of the fruit. I'm getting the layers of cinnamon and even ginger, bits of nutmeg. I would say more of the white pepper than the black pepper, because it's not it's light. I'm going to say there's a herbaceous thing going on here. Finish wise, this is it's definitely a medium finish, and I gotta say it's as good as it's ever been. It's such a delight to get into a whiskey. It's not only non-chill filtered, 46.3%, but also no color added, but is almost pretty much where it was when I first experienced it and when I last reviewed it. And all I can say is this is a whiskey you really want to go after. So, you know, I feel that it hasn't changed a lot in the years that I've been drinking this. And remember, this came out in 2010, the 46.3. Previous to that, it was a 40% ABV. It has balance. It is got a lot of body to it. It's got a lot of layers to it. Is it friendly? Maybe for some of you that are still, sipping on Glenlivets and Glenfiddichs and, Glenmorangies and that. It might be worth experimenting a bit and going to this and just see what you think of it. It's not quite where those whiskeys are, because it does go a different direction. I mentioned the pungent nose. I mentioned a little bit of the vegetable notes. Those are what make the whiskey interesting. So, what am I going to give this again? Darn it, I want to stay in the 88 area. It's one of the highest marks I'm going to give a 12, because this guy is well deserved of that mark. So 87, 88. So I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, so lunch.